Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Sulky Show. Another weekend of harness racing coming up. We are racing at York, Tir Price and Corbiewood this weekend, and it's that magical weekend at York. It is the annual Camden Stud Sale at York. Sale gets underway at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning, followed by racing at 2:22. No expense spared on tonight's show. As per usual, we've got Sarah Thomas. She's on the hard stuff. Tonight, the tipple is...
Champagne.
Champagne.
We
go G&T. We had cider. Have we had cider?
No, we haven't had cider. We had red wine the other week, which, by the way, was Australian, not New Zealand red wine. And this week, champagne courtesy of Mitchell Oak. This is what Craig was talking about, I think, one of the shows we did a couple of weeks ago. Had I started the champagne yet? This was a thank you gift for somebody. So. And
how do you rate it out of 10?
It's a solid 4.
A solid 4.
Solid right. 4. It might move up to a 5 by the time I get further down the bottle.
Well, I'll stick to my cup of tea. And we have got, again, as I say, no expense spared. It is the one and only, the man who's got a tale to tell. He might have more than one tale. It's the one and only Billy Grieveson. How are you, Billy?
Please.
What are we on tonight?
Well, what I like is the Desperados.
I like a Desperados as well. I've sent Michael O'Neill shopping for Desperados for tomorrow night. That was my beer choice.
A touch of tequila.
Yeah, just a touch of tequila. They're Mexicans.
Yeah. But I'm led to believe, Billy, you don't like those hot climates, do you? You prefer to be in the freezing cold.
Oh, I wouldn't have missed Corbiewood for the world. There was a lovely invite there from our beer to go to the wedding. Beautiful. All on a terrace, lovely hot climate and everything. Free drink, free food, everything paid for. But no, I opted for Corbiewood. Draw number 4 at Corbiewood. Why would you want to miss that? I'd rather be at Corbiewood as more beer.
So forget plus 38. You want to be -5 at Corbiewood. And here is a man who's a fixture and fitting at Corbiewood and York. I don't know what he does in his spare time. Perhaps he works for the lifeboat service because he's wearing a life jacket. It's the one and only Craig Stevenson.
Good evening, Daz. I work as much as you.
How are you doing?
Not too bad. I need the life jacket at night. I was wanting to dive in the water after the tips you gave me today.
Oh, sorry about that, Craig. Sorry. Hey, listen, I'm passing on what I'd heard.
I did say when I said what's your Bismarck of the day.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though, you can't go wrong by backing Paddy Brennan and Fergal O'Brien.
Oh, they're flying now, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, so we have got an all-star cast. Of course, it's the sale, so Craig will be talking about the sale, which is coming up on Saturday. So, Sarah, what nuggets have we got?
What, in terms of the sale or in terms of...
Or absolutely anything. What do you want to talk about?
Well, you may have guessed by the guest that we've got on tonight that obviously wanted to quiz Billy a little bit. I don't know if you know how this came about, Darren. You probably still remember getting a message about 3:15 in the morning one Saturday night.
A couple of weeks ago when you were at Tir Price, was it?
Yeah, I didn't realise until the morning after quite how late I'd text you. But Billy and I found ourselves up drinking with various other people, and he started to tell stories. And then he said, "When are you going to get me on the Sulky show?" And I thought, I'm going to call this guy's bluff. I was like, I'll text Darren right this second, and we will get you on the Sulky show. Not realising it was 3:15 in the morning when I sent that message, and also not thinking that Billy would actually want to come on here. So I never mentioned it again. And I think the last 2 weekends that I've seen you, Billy, you said to me, why have I not been on the Sulky show yet? So this was a golden opportunity because the first race on Saturday, which is a handicap race featuring some C-Class drivers as well, is the Ronnie Grieveson Memorial. So, Billy, this is your father. You're sponsoring this race. You've got the trophy there in the background with you that you're putting up for the race as well. So obviously it just felt like it was quite fitting to have you on. And this is where I hand over to you now. I want to know, first of all, how you got into the sport of harness racing. Was this down to your father that you got involved in the sport?
No, not really. It was Dennis Leonard, a very good friend of ours. He was giving us a lift home when I was only a young boy, and we stopped at Billy Clark's, another trotting guy that had horses for a long time. And Billy Clark gave us a drive of his horse, Carina Adius. And I got on Carina Adius, and I was about 13, and I went, that's it, I'm hooked. And, you know, I was back to Dad, hanging on his sleeve, I want a trotter, I want a trotter, I want a trotter. So we went up to, we left it to Lenny Layton. He was to find one, and he found Riverbank Princess from the Riverbank stables. We went to Corbiewood. She then belonged to the Ogilvies, and we bought it off the Ogilvies at Corbiewood. Bought her there. On the same night, we bought a square trotter, Thorem, and that's how we started off. I had the pacer, and my dad bought the trotter, and that was it. And we started racing then, went from there. I think I was 14 the first time I drove in York, in the Eddie Roberts Memorial. And I got straight in the steward's room because I was having a look about. I was looking left to right instead of having a look forward. I said, what were you looking about for? Oh, I said, it was just nerves. But I had a great bit of fun with her. I spoke to Helen Morton the other day, and I told her, I got, like nowadays, they have passports and the books and that. And what years ago was just a little blue certificate, what you had. And I had the original certificate for her. And I took a photograph and sent it to Helen Morton because it was their breed of horse, Riverbank Princess. That was their stud. And she went, I remember it. She says, its mother died when it was being born, and it was read on a bucket. So, and we bought the other one off them as well, Thorem, the trotter. We bought them, but that was us all them years ago, kicking it off. I think 1980, I think it started off.
So how many winners have you driven since 1980 then?
Oh, I can't remember. It was that long ago that I drove. I did get up to a B class driver. I did get up to the next level, but you could race every week, sometimes twice a week. It was brilliant, you know. Like there was grass meetings on through the week, as local as just Darlington and stuff like that. It was really good. Me and Watson Arab's dad, Watson Arab Senior. We would go to Droylsden, would go to Sillith, would go to Kendal, would go to anywhere where there was trotting, anywhere at all, on a mountaintop. Me and him would set off there.
And which of all the tracks that you've been to over the years then, you're talking about Droylsden, places like that, places that obviously are no longer racing anymore, of all the tracks that you've been at, past and present, which would you say was your favourite to go to? First of all, as a driver, which was the best one you drove around?
There's only one answer for that. Musselburgh. It's my one and only ambition. I've drove around there a few times. We had been lucky enough to have a winner there, Thorem, the trotter won around there in the trot. I've never been lucky enough to have a winner around there. Second twice with a couple of horses what Johnny Gill trained for us. Second there twice, both in the heats where the final winner come out of me heats. So I was lucky enough to get in the final with a couple of horses, but Musselburgh, my long ambition to have a winner there. I used to plague the life to Johnny Gill, please win a race round here for us. And now, as I say, Rocker Laidler, I'll be getting Rocker Laidler to say, please get us a winner round there. Maybe there Victoria might come up the home straight for us one day.
Well, I was going to say, you're no longer a driver, but you are technically an owner now these days. And Ronald does the driving. So is this the plan, to get Air Victoria to Musselburgh and put Ronald on to drive?
I think more Frisco touch and go. I think if everything goes well with him, I think he'd be more horse, be a Musselburgh candidate. Him, you know, to go around there. He's a staying horse. That would more suit him, you know. The size of Musselburgh might just swallow Air Victoria up.
She went well at Corbiewood, but obviously it's a different kettle of fish moving to Musselburgh. I take it as well then, so that was as a driver, it was your favourite track to go to. I take it as a spectator as well then, Musselburgh will be like the number one.
Driver, spectator, owner, anything. I would just, Musselburgh is my ideal place. Just, it's quite a few people's, it's your long ambition, you know what I mean? Years ago when I used to go there, 12 horses in a race, coming out the tape starts, it was daunting sometimes, you know, but there you go. You just had to hope for the best and get out of them tapes and get on your way and hope you come home. But as only one horse can win the race.
This must be quite nice to hear, Craig, because you are kind of Mr. Musselburgh. So this is us talking about how great Musselburgh is. Can you guarantee that Billy's got a chance of actually racing this horse at Musselburgh next year?
Yes, Musselburgh will be on. Musselburgh will be on. COVID provided. If COVID gets to beat it, Musselburgh will be on.
What? If COVID gets to what, Craig?
Well, it's a family show, isn't it? So I can't swear. Musselburgh will be on. I can't promise we'll have tape starts, but tape starts were fantastic. Anything could get lost at the tapes. They used to call, believe it or not, they used to call Jim McAnally North Berwick. Every time they went, the tapes went up, Jim McAnally was pointing the opposite way.
You used to see some horses racing 4 times on the 2 days. They'd race in the heat and the final one day, and the heat and the final the next day. Many a time I've seen Jim Pickard with a Lydia like maybe own 12 seconds, 12-yard boxes. And at the 2 furlong pole, coming charging down the outside. It was brilliant to watch, you know, the favourites coming from the back, and like horses, they going 10, 20 length clear. And the furlong pole still being at the front, but hanging on for grim death. But the back horses coming hard at them was so exciting, so thrilling, you know, especially out the tape starts, because sometimes if the favourite didn't start, you had more of a chance, you know.
So why did they do tape starts?
I just thought that everything moves on, and time, you know, the gate start was giving everybody more of a fairer chance, and the horses were getting better bred, faster, and everything. Yeah, and it was hard turning them in the tapes. Sometimes 3 horses in a 12-yard box turning, you know. And if you were like now a C-class driver or somebody had an A-class driver, they'd be hollering at you, keep out the way of me, keep out the road. You know, it made things a bit more daunting for you when you were in the tapes. But very exciting, great meeting it was, great meeting. We used to stay in the trailers over the back. If you see, like in old catalogues and everything, you had, my mum and my dad would take us and we'd stay in the trailers along the back field. And I took my family there. When I got married, I took my family there, and we stayed in the trailers along at the back. See, sometimes 1,000, 1,500 trailers there, you know. There used to be a concert right down the bottom, bales of straw and a fire in the middle, and there used to be a concert on there. Not actually for the travellers or for the racing. It was just they held a concert there at the bottom. But the pubs of the night time, Mrs. Foreman's, the Woodside, the Pit and Creef. Like when me and Watson Hart was young, we used to go from pub to pub and just sit and listen, and to like off the London men with their trotting horses there, Georgie Dixon, Billy Dixon and them. It was great and fascinating to listen to the stories and that, you know. It was great of horses and great ones past and, you know, great ones coming and that, you know. It was excellent. And at the stables of a morning time, everybody there doing the horses, and then everybody muching off to get a breakfast and have a sleep. And then the start of it, Monday, you'd be at Kendal on Saturday. Monday, you'd be at Corbiewood. Tuesday, Musselburgh. Wednesday, Musselburgh. Thursday, back to Corbiewood. And Friday, Lanark. What a week's racing. Was absolutely out of this world, you know. Brilliant. All the Irish there, some, you know, horses coming across, all fancied. And it was excellent to see. Excellent to be there.
So you don't need to go on holiday.
You are?
You don't need to go abroad on holiday.
Definitely not, honestly. Give me Corbiewood before Marbella.
Well, you mentioned Lanark there. What was it like to drive around Lanark? What was that like? I remember it was a flat race course, wasn't it, back in the 70s?
Yeah, I got what people used to more, and I say it was like a primer for Musselburgh, you know, because the race the opposite way at Lanark. Never ever did get the chance to drive around Lanark. But it was the opposite way on. But there's some old-fashioned videos that came on Facebook and that, and on YouTube and that, and it shows you. I was there several times. I was at Lanark, but you know, everybody used to say you used to get them ready for Musselburgh by getting them round Lanark. But you'll have been to Lanark, you'll have commentated at Lanark, have you or not? Is it not a race course now?
You know,
No.
it's gone now, but I've had a walk round there.
Yeah.
I've worked out horses around it.
Yeah.
I've not worked horses out, but we do. We have previously worked horses out around Lanark because Lanark would be our closest track. I'm actually going to Lanark Racecourse tomorrow, but I'm going to the vets opposite. But it's no longer a circuit. I assume it must have been a circuit at some point. It's now kind of fenced off at the end, so it's kind of more like a horseshoe shape.
You had all the stables there. All the stables used to be there for facilities and that, you know, when you used to arrive there, your horse straight in the box and that, and you had the stables there and then onto the track. It was really, you know, it was a really good venue.
So, Craig, you get any ideas now? Are we having a concert at Musselburgh next year?
Well, we could get Billy, because Billy spoke to me for about an hour on the way home the other day, and I never laughed so much in my life. So we maybe get a stand-up show.
A stand-up show, yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice?
Craig, you can do karaoke afterwards.
Well, that's to put everybody out, yes.
Yes, when you start pulling your shirt off and riding a chair backwards and singing Dignity, that generally does close the place down.
Yes, you've had a few nightmares to that.
I really have.
Now, leave your life jacket on, Craig, please.
Willie Patterson caught me bang to rights at Corbiewood one night. I think me and Billy Leaper had gone up for I think we had a horse racing, and they had the karaoke on afterwards at the I'm sure it was the Murdoch weekend, so they had the karaoke on. So in any case, as the drink was flowing, I gets up and I sings a song on the karaoke. So then after the song, my phone starts ringing. So Willie Patterson had been videoing us on the karaoke. So it was my wife ringing us. So I went outside and she went, what's it like up there? I says, oh, very quiet. Everybody's gone to bed. She says, where are you? I says, just heading to bed. She says, that's funny. There's somebody that looks exactly like you on Facebook singing That's Life. And it was Willie Patterson that put us straight on. And I was called bang to rights. I says, thanks, Willie. I says, there's me trying to be Mr. Kind. I says, I got called bang to rights off my wife. Wasn't having a late night. I was singing on the karaoke and jigging.
Oh, brilliant. We've had some nights at Corbiewood like that, though, to be fair.
Brilliant.
So you've done a bit of singing there. Craig's certainly done a bit of singing there. I think I may have sung once or twice. Darren, you'll have to come up to Corbiewood next year. We'll get you on the karaoke.
Yeah, I don't think you want to hear me. And Billy, on a serious note, like you're talking about the racing, and you know, it strikes me when you were setting out as a young driver, you said there was an awful lot of racing in those days. You know, you could race several times in the week, and obviously that's one of the big changes you've seen over the years. Less racing, I suppose, less horses in training.
Yeah. Like a lot of the old-fashioned grass. There was like holes. That was dent. I'm trying to think. It's Stockton at Middlesbrough. There was Eston Grange. All great grass meetings. And a full race card. And these could happen Thursday nights. And in conjunction, like with Corbiewood on and that. But you'd have a look, like some of the old record books, you'd have some horses racing 35 times in a year. They'd race at Corbiewood, a heat in the final, and then straight to Kendal on Saturday. The same horses. Jock Ritchie would have Brandyford Stud. He'd have them at Corbiewood, and then straight to Kendal and racing there. But everybody did. Arthur Slack, you know, he used to have his horses racing all over. Sillith, you know, it was a brilliant track meeting, a half-mile track meeting at Sillith. It was brilliant. Like, there was a host of places, and then, as I say, I think as it got into the later side of things, Manchester, the tape starts again at Manchester. Droylsden was brilliant. It was brilliant there, you know, stadium there, but the fizzle out. But for winning a race and that nowadays, I think everybody likes to win a race around York because your horse has got to go on extremely fast to win a race, and you get a clock on your horse and you're proud as punch, you know. I mean, I was taking her Victoria there. She was running a heart out, but seconds, thirds, you know, and I just thought, I said, if I keep doing this, I'm going to sicken her. And I'm not saying there was less competition at Corbiewood, but just you were having 10 in a race at York, and you were saying maybe he's getting 6 or 7 at a race in Corbiewood. So I just thought, try your chances elsewhere.
And what about horses and drivers that you've seen over the years? You know, best horses, best drivers.
Best driver. Well, no, I'm not saying the best driver because I never ever is the best. But my favourite driver ever to drive a horse to watch was Ronnie Harrop. Like the masterpiece, you know. He had a great strain of horses. He was a terrific trainer and just an outstanding driver, you know. When the chips was down, very, very, very rare that man. He was, you know, I think one of the best horses I ever owned. Johnny Gill trained it for us, California Star, and I bought it off Ronnie Harrop, and he says this'll do you the world of good. This he knew that horse was a good one when he was selling it to us, you know. Won the 3-year-old Derby, the Scottish 3-year-old Derby around Corbiewood, was over the moon. But there's a host of good horses, Monkride Mystery, Lydia M. You know, a host of good horses you could go down the list with, you know. Ian Pimlett used to fetch a terrific horse every year to Musselburgh and that, you know, and see it win around there and run around there. Great horses everywhere. You know?
And what do you think of today's batch of top class horses? I mean, do you think in terms of the actual horses we're watching, it's evolved? Like, you know, in terms of the quality of the horses that we're seeing now?
Quality now is outstanding. Honestly, look at the breed of horses, you know, Sweet Lou's and that we've got here. It's outstanding, the breed of horses that we have here. Look at the speed they're going. Well, it just shows you. Everybody always used to say the Americans are far superior to us. They're far superior to us. Well, I'm sorry, we're taking English horses across to America, and they're coping with the best. Son of a gun, he's in the top race on a race card in America and winning. You know, meticulous. You know, that never happened years ago, you know, like there was horses exported across there and they're done well, but they were never, ever talked about like the way they are now. Just the breed that we've got here now, and I'm not saying that people are spending a lot more money. Yeah, there's a lot more expensive horses out there, but years ago, people used to shell on and give good money for things because they wanted good things. You know what I mean? They wanted good things to race and to win races. Everybody's got the same aim, like to win races. Sometimes a horse doesn't know how much it costs.
Mm. And if there was one thing you could change now, Billy, to improve the sport, what would it be?
Just the grass racing, you know. I much enjoy grass racing. I'm not saying you could change the sport. It's great, York, and what Mick Wellens has done, and Craig and that to get this all together. It's great that, and it's great going to York. You know, you've got a great stadium there. If to make your horse worth any money, you've got Tir Price in York. To make your horse worth the money, like it has to do a good time, and them's the tracks to do the good time. But also, it's brilliant to have like Appleby winners, Musselburgh winners, you know, them is the sort of things, you know. But changing the sport, just the grass racing, you know, it's a shame that we haven't had any this year, but, you know, that is the main eye for me. I love grass racing. That's a great track that we have there, what Foodies and them have, you know, that's a great track there. That's brilliant. But just a shame we couldn't have it this year.
Mm-hmm. Craig, what do you want to add?
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll be back with a bang with some grass racing next year. We'll keep on, the dates are getting put in next month, I think, Daz, aren't they? I do remember the horse what Billy's talking about, California Star. I was training him, I think, with Sandy Castles at the time, and Gregory Dean left it with us. We raced at Corbiewood, I think, then took it to Lanark, it raced round Lanark with Driven by Design. And we were to take it back at Tregarden and give it back to them. So when we took it to Tregarden, we gave them back, but it was racing in the heat. So it finished second in the heat, and myself and John Castles bet it in the final without 2 at 20-1, and Kieran Morrison drove it, and it finished second in the final. That was such, as Billy says, such a genuine horse, California Star. I do remember that. But my all-time favourite is Mongroy Mystery.
Yeah, one of my favourites, that.
I just gave 100% all the time, Billy.
Every time, and Evelyn slack driving it, and that she got every ounce out of her. You know what I mean? It was brilliant. It was brilliant to watch, and the mare's been a great mare as well for breeding. She's, I think, Rocker Laidlaw and Johnny Gill. I think they've had one's by her. I think through John Lindsay, but just a great mare. I think Mystery Man. I think he was a great horse. You know what she bred. But that mare was just some mare. A New Zealand mare, I think she was. I think she came in, I think she was imported with a lot of other mares.
And, you know, we were talking about the great horses that we've seen over the years, and, you know, it speaks volumes, doesn't it, for the Slack stable, the Slack operation, Arthur's operation.
Yeah. He had a host of brilliant horses, mares, you know, and the breed of horses, and then his stallion, like today's man, Roger Lebel, when he stood there, Sly Heel, you just got racehorse after racehorse after racehorse. Brilliant, you know, them. Nelly, you just could pick a one and, right, so you didn't go to York and gone 2-5 or 2-6 with it, but you could go to grass meetings with them horses and win. You know, there was always races to be won, and everybody got a slice of the action. So
let's hope the grass racing returns next year. You were talking about Binchester, really good track, Binchester, big track, 5/8 track. That's a really good track, and hopefully, Craig, there'll be a few meetings at Binchester next year.
Yes, that's more on my calendar, Darren. Yes, so we'll have hopefully Winchester, Musselburgh, and Carlisle to go back to. That's another good. I like these little shows. Maybe not the best of tracks, but does bring people who doesn't see the sport, like Carlisle. We managed to get it straight on, and the crowd there the last time was very good.
Yeah. So, Sarah, what's happening then in the big wide world? Any gossip?
No, I don't think there is any gossip. I tend to keep my head down during the week. As you know, right. I'm really busy, so I don't know what's going on from one week to the next. It's a miracle that on a Thursday night I've actually printed off the race sheets for Corbiewood and York, which I'm actually going to, and I've managed to get Tir Prince's up on my computer. And also, I have to say, the fact that Corbiewood's got a card on a Thursday night on the BHRC website seems to be, you know, great strides for Corbiewood, because we've been a little bit behind up in Scotland the last couple of weeks. So no gossip from me, just preparation. I'm fairly well prepared for the weekend. Can you tell I'm excited about it?
What about that pigeon? Tell me about the pigeon.
Yeah, so that was weird. So one of my friends actually texted me after I told her that story, and she said, "Why does weird stuff always happen to you?" And I'm like, yeah, why does it? So for everybody who's watching this now, you want to hear about this. I was rudely interrupted during my morning routine of drinking coffee this morning in my kitchen at 8:30 by a man knocking on my back door. That's not an innuendo. Sorry. That's not an innuendo. Right, yes, clear head. And I answered the door, and this man that I've never seen before handed me a pigeon and walked off. So I was in my kitchen with a pigeon, and then John came downstairs and took the pigeon off me and kept saying, "Oh, nice hen," and like had it turned upside down and was looking in his eyes, and then he disappeared out of the house with the pigeon, and that was it. And then I got on my work. So
that was it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was actually expecting the pigeon, but the total lack of communication in this household, that he didn't give me any warning whatsoever that there was going to be a strange man arriving at 8:30 in the morning with the pigeon, is slightly concerning. But yeah, pigeon, and all was fine. So
what was the pigeon lost, or has it changed loft? What's happening? Is it a star pigeon?
Well, no, after John came back to our house, I asked him what was going on, and he reminded me that last week on our road trip to Wales to collect a new horse, I'd actually spent much of the journey bidding on this pigeon on an online auction, but I must have sectioned that part of the journey away, because after 8.5 hours being in a car with somebody and driving on some of those back roads in Wales, you just want to forget that it ever happened. So during the phase that I'd kind of boxed off and didn't want to think about it again, I actually was the one that bought the pigeon on his behalf, because he was driving. I have no interest in pigeons whatsoever, but I did buy that pigeon for him.
And are we talking big money here?
I can't remember exactly because, like I say, I've tried to forget it. It wouldn't have been extortionate because I don't think I'd sit on an online auction bidding silly money for a pigeon because I don't like pigeons and I don't think anybody should be spending big money on pigeons.
Right.
Pigeons are apparently his thing now. We've all got our own interest, Darren, all right? And
Yeah.
I'm not going to judge him for it.
All,
Not trouble.
all I can say, I'm glad it was a little hen and not a big cock. Anyway, we'll move on. Move on.
That's very, very few times she's stuck for words, Darren.
Yeah, well, we'll move on.
But,
I don't know whether you realise this. I used to roast pigeons as well.
I'm sure John showed me last 2 or 3 weeks ago at York. He had a pigeon racing in Europe for thousands and thousands of pounds.
Yeah. Big money.
Yeah. But this is our thing now. Is one loft races across Europe, and apparently Zimbabwe is where we're sending pigeons to Victoria Falls. I say we. I've had nothing to do with this, but he has named a pigeon after me. We've got a pigeon called Crosshill Sarah, and he said to me, I quite like this one. And I thought, well, you probably should because it's named after me and you are marrying me. So, I'd like to think he likes the pigeon he's named after me.
And how
You
old's
better hope it.
Crosshill Sarah? Is it a youngster?
It's a pigeon, Darren. It's a pigeon. It's got wings on its way to Zimbabwe.
What colour is it?
I don't know.
Is it the same delivery driver taking it to Zimbabwe?
There's the name for our next horse. Catch the pigeon.
Catch the pigeon. Right, Sarah, come on. You must have looked at the York card Saturday.
Yes, I have. I have looked at the York card. Have I looked at the York card? I mean, I've got it printed off in front of me. So the first race is the Ronnie Grieveson Memorial, which is obviously kindly sponsored by Billy and his family. And your son, Billy, he's driving in this. Ronald's got to drive on Dynamic for Matty Quinn. It's a fairly wide open race. I mean, there's 2 or 3 horses in the race that are probably coming into it with quite live chances. Zipcar 1 I was quite impressed by last week, Darren, with Grant Cullen driving.
Yeah.
He flashed 3 wide down the home straight and actually looked quite a nice finishing horse. Air Elegance hasn't been out of the placings that much this year, particularly at York. She seems to do quite well. And there's been a little bit of support I see on a tipster competition for Reed Sequin with the Haythorne weights, a 3-year-old coming back into kind of handicap company. Dreamfair Duke obviously comes into the race off massive form. Heat and final winner at Corbiewood last week with Mick Grellis, the C-Class driver. He drove Dreamfair Duke in the final and gave it a great drive. So Dreamfair Duke coming back to York, having only been to Corbiewood for last weekend and obviously won twice there. So that to me is a really good competitive race. We've got 3 trots on the card as well. These races, as far as I'm concerned, the trots at York this year have been super, super competitive, nearly every race. We've had so many different winners. There's a couple of new ones. I don't know if a 12 Quick is Ginge or if the trotter that the Nicholsons are taking to Tir Prince on Sunday is Ginge.
I was trying to work that one out, actually, yes. I was trying to work that.
Because John did say to me when he watched the qualifier back, he actually thought the horse was called Ginge, and I had to explain to him that's just a stable name because John Henry didn't know what it was called. So I don't know if it's a 12 Quick or if it's the horse they've got at Tir Prince.
I wonder if it's the Tir Prince one. Ginge, it's a chestnut, the one at Tir Prince. I wonder.
That'll be it then. That will be it. I've not looked at the Tir Prince card close enough to have done that process of elimination myself. So we'll go with the one at Tir Prince being Ginge. So Etoile Quick is a new purchase for the Walkers and the Nicholsons. So it's an Irish trotter. It would be interesting to see how that kind of fares in the company. Esther de Fournay was a comfortable winner last week, but driver changed again this week. Rock was driving instead of Alan Haythornthwaite. The trots are so competitive, I can barely, I couldn't pick a winner out of any of them, so I'm not even going to try. Maiden and Novice Pace, there's a couple of horses in this I wanted to keep an eye on. Raymond Camden hasn't had a great deal of form coming into the race, but probably has a massive chance being drawn 1. Lions Wing Cups, I think maybe was a fancied horse last week and perhaps disappointed a little bit. He broke on the first bend. I don't know how comfortable he was during the race. And West End Illusion's been fairly consistent as well the last couple of starts. Excitable as well. My sponsor driver, John Henry's in with a big chance, I think, with Excitable because she was a winner at Tir Prince last time out and I missed it because I was at Corbiewood. So I'd like him to win at York so I can take his photo. As I mentioned, the trots, I don't really want to go into the trots in too much detail because whatever I do is I jinx somebody. Be again super competitive. Black Williams comes back to York. having raced at Amma Valley and Tir Prince the last few times. So we've not seen Black Williams, but had a little bit of success in between. We've got a new driver with Virio de Regen, Adrian Gaffer, who coincidentally, 3-Pack was disqualified last week, and 3-Pack's only been disqualified 3 times in his career here. Kind of out of character for him, but perhaps Adrian's maybe used to that first spin around York, maybe getting used to the tracks here. Maybe have a bit more luck with Virio de Regen. And American Love, I thought, was showing a bit of improvement as well. So we'll see how John Henry gets on with that one. Anto Russell Memorial, for me, I'm going to have to say Merrington moving up. I don't know how many times he's been out of the first 2 this year, if at all. Even though he is on the 7th line, it is running lines, not handicap trails. To me, he's the real class horse in the race. But Spring Hill Glory was knocking on the door last week. So it could get an exciting finish, and Loose Change as well. James Macy Hallstar, a winner. It is a competitive race. There's a couple of winners in there from recent weeks as well. Lions Bullet, a winner last week. George Button Senior Memorial Trot, the top trotters. That's a really hot race, full of quality. So I wouldn't know where to start trying to pick a winner in that, so I'm not even going to touch it. I don't want Trot Britain to think that I'm not interested in their races. All just so competitive that if I had to go through it, I could make a case for all 8 horses in that, the George Button Memorial. I really could, because they're all running really out of their skin at the moment. Daniel Welling Memorial. Rocky Mambo probably looking for a prep run here for the Crocker Gold, which I think is going to be in a fortnight. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it will be a fortnight.
1st of November, yeah.
Yeah, on Sunday. So Rocky Mambo is obviously looking for a prep run there for the Crocker Gold. There might be other horses in the race that are doing the same. I don't know, because entries are reopening for that. There could be a couple of horses in this race that maybe look to the Crocker Gold at Tir Prince. Lions Queen. This could be a week where Lions Queen maybe doesn't find it as easy as she has done previously at York, because she hasn't got that gate draw. She's got to come around a lot of traffic if she wants to get to the front as early as she's got it the last couple of weeks with grab driving. So he's maybe going to have to play that slightly differently. The Lion King, he's in good form. I thought he raced quite well the other week with William Layla Jr. driving, but I noticed William Layla Jr. driving Bobby Camden, who's also a quality horse, and again roller coaster as well. And that's yeah, York. So again, I'm on the fence massively. I've not given you any winners, and I'm not going to.
So you're not going to tell us what the nap is?
Do I have to pick one? I can't. It's not going to be a trotter anyway. I know that much. It's not, and I don't want to go for the obvious Merrington moving up, because I can just hear Andrew Cairns in the back of my head going, "Oh well, you know, you've not really told us anything we don't know." So I'm going to pick something really not obscure. I'm going to. Do you know what? I'm going to say. Oh, no, I'm not going to say. No, this is difficult. I'm going to say Excitable.
All right, for your sponsored driver.
My sponsored driver, who now is officially jinxed, and Excitable won't finish in the first 3. So I'm sorry, John Henry.
Billy, is there anything you fancy on Saturday at York?
Zip Call 1.
That would be your best bet, would it? First race.
That's always like to try and knock one in the first race, and then you get your money for the rest of the meeting.
Yeah.
Zip Call 1, I would fancy. The first 3 races, number 1 in the first 3 races.
All right.
I fancy number 1 in the first, number 1 in the second race, and number 1 in the third race. I think he's a real nice horse. That Raymond Camden, I think he is. I think he's a real nice horse. I'd raced him a few weeks ago on that, and he looked well. He looked nice. He run good. And see them first 3 races, number 1. I like the chestnut horse that Matty's just been getting, the trotter. I think that's a nice horse. So them would be me 3 bets in the first 3 races.
There you go. We've got a treble now. That's what I like. We've got a treble. Zip Car 1, Esther de Fournay and Raymond Camden. There you go, Craig. Beat that.
I'm going to go wild here.
Sorry, but I would love me lad to win for Matty Quinn on the first race. I'd love him to win, but
you had to shoehorn that in now after very strongly saying you fancy Zip Car 1. Zip Car 1, definitely Zip Car 1, but also my son.
So Billy, right, you've got the crown jewels on Zip Car 1 and Ronald's coming in outside it. What one do you cheer on?
Ronald for definite.
I'll shout him to stop.
Ron, I would like him to win it, wouldn't I? Because it's me dad's trophy. So
Yeah.
I would like him to win it, and I think he would like to win it as well for his Grandest Trophy. You know what I mean? It would be nice. And my nephew that's there, Hosea Burton, he'd probably like to see Ronald win it as well. You know.
That'd be a great
Yeah.
story.
All right, well, I do fancy Zipcar one a wee bit. I think the race might fall for Kelly Peacock's Next Generation.
Yeah.
It's going to follow Zipcar one right through, and I'd like to see that one. And it won first time out this year. My nap of the day is in race 2, is Encore Sun. That's the nap of the day.
Oh, is that the Ali's new trotter?
Yes.
Very, very impressed with that in the qualifier last week, actually.
It went 1-3 to the first half and came back a second half and 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
That's good, that, isn't it?
For a trotter, yes.
That's Craig blown any kind of price the Ali's were maybe looking for with Star Sports and with the track bookmakers.
Well, I've been told every week by Joe Quinn and Joseph Ripley, do not mention our horses. Every week when I walk in, do not mention ours. Nothing, you put us off. So I jinxed it a few weeks ago with Caroline Kennedy. I said good time Hal in the mud. She came straight down to me. That's you jinxed me already. So everything I mentioned gets beat.
Hey, talking about Next Generation will be retiring soon.
Well, Kelly did come down to me a few weeks ago and ask what she does to get another year out of it. So I've gave her the information which she would need to go through it. She wants to run it next year if they're grass racing. If there wasn't grass racing, she would retire it this year, she was telling me.
Right.
Because the horse is still keen for racing. York just seems a little bit fast for it.
Yeah. Okay.
And we can't have Kelly and the horse retiring in the same year.
Well, so Kelly's hasn't Kelly got another horse? Is that it?
I think that's it. I think she got rid of everything else.
Right. Right. So that's York. First race.
What's yours, Daz?
What?
What's your Bismarck?
My Bismarck. I gave you that today at Carlisle. It's still out there in the National and Flat Race.
So what's your nap of the day then? Come on.
Well, to be honest, I was drawn to Zipcar one in the first race as well. So that's that horse is really penalised. What I was going to say to you now, right, York Saturday, Craig. First race 2:22. Are we going to Australia this weekend?
I think so. I've not been told otherwise. It's a Friday. I contact the RAS Lab. I leave them all week. I'm rather busy nowadays, eh?
Are you?
Aye.
Right, you've got the sales catalogue there, I believe.
Yes, I've got it print. I've just got a printed sheet here in front of me. So, well, I see there are a couple of horses not coming to it. Dam Major and Matty Quinn's already bought that as a trotter. But going through it, there's something for everybody in this sale, eh? They can't all be expensive. You've got Sweet Lou's for closures, Colts and fillies. You've got Ambro Juices, Arch Conquest, the Pandarosa, that's an old one. Hasty Halls, Sea and Skis, everything for some people. As you know today, Daz, we had a phone call and emails for Harrogate Council, and the police was on the phone at the start of the week. It's just we need to stick by the rules. If we don't stick by the rules, we risk racing and the sale. Everybody must wear the masks. Doesn't matter if you don't like wearing it. If you don't like wearing it, don't come. We want the harness racing to continue. Nobody likes wearing it. If you go in Morrison's, you've still got to wear it. If you don't need to wear it, you go out. So just the same as here. I've got more contacts tomorrow with Harrogate Council, but nobody likes it. But we just need to stick by the rules. No gathering in big groups. We're going to have it on the inside of the track in the arena. So if there are people viewing the horses in the stables, if there's one person in the stable, wait till they come out and see the horse and somebody else go in. I know there are lots of people hanging about. We will be announcing it regular. There'll be obviously you're settled on the gate with a medic. He's coming in early to help with procedures. we just need to stick by the rules. We will envisage every 20 minutes an ounce over a tannoy to keep distances, and if we keep our distance, what they've told me on the phone, if we stick by the rules, there's no problem. They've no qualms about it. The racing, they've been watching the racing. The guy told me today, and what they've seen on the streaming, and they're very happy with that. So hopefully, if people buy horses, they want to get home, they can go home, and we can just continue with the racing. They can watch it in the pay-per-view. But this is a very unusual year we've had. To get to the sale, I never thought this way back in March, April time. I never thought we would be here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Listen. We don't have any pleasure out of laying down the law, laying down these rules, but I'm afraid it's got to be done just to keep the show on the road. And we just want everyone to adhere to the protocols on Saturday. Wear face masks, please social distance, and if you don't, you'll be asked to leave the premises. Sadly, we don't want to do that. We want people to enjoy the sale. We will ask, regrettably again, people to leave the track once the sale is over, unless there are license holders involved in the racing. But as you say, we'll be live streaming on Saturday, Craig, from 2:22. So it's a big day, it's an important day, but we need it to work. We need everyone to cooperate. This really is serious. We do need everyone to cooperate. And going back to the sale, Craig. So how many lots have we got on Saturday, roughly?
Officially, there are 46 on the catalogue. There's one extra been added in. A man on the show tonight. He's added a lot in, Billy. So I'm going to get them printed. It's not the wife. It's a horse's bought called Meadow Branch Titus. That's a racehorse. If anybody's looking for it, that'll be a good one. Billy likes a bit of profit when he's buying horses.
Sorry to be there, Craig, but I did say.
What's that?
I did say before the auction, if somebody come and got it, it would go.
Is that away?
It's gone, yeah, Bob. Yeah, it's gone.
All right, I don't need to get them things printed for you then.
No, not now.
Oh, you must have got real profit of that.
Well, that's why
smiling.
It's a long story. It's a long story.
Every story is a long story with you, Billy.
Yeah. Listen, it took 9 months to have me. I wasn't rushed.
So, Billy, tell us your sale topper, what you think. Your top three.
Top three, yeah. Hughie O'Neill's Colt. Out Air Queen.
Air Emperor.
Rockin' Mambo.
Smoking Mambo.
Yeah, Smoking Mambo. Quite a few people interested in them. And obviously, the Meticulous is brother, the one out of Matty. That one there. Them three, I think, will be top money earners. I hope everybody has a good sale. I hope everybody does well selling the horses. There's something there that I see that I like. I'll try and buy myself, but...
for Ronald.
You what?
For Ronald.
I'm not retired yet, I'm still alive and kicking. Hello, I look like I'm the only worker now. Hey, by the way, I am in charge at my stables. I am in charge of the wheelbarrow,
Are you?
Yeah, I'm in charge of the wheelbarrow. It's about the only thing I'm in charge of, like.
Yes, there are lots of good ones. What's your top three, Darren and Sarah? You're not allowed to pick the same. Oh.
I ain't got one.
I've looked through it, but subsequently my catalogue appears to have disappeared down to my father-in-law's house, and I need to get back for tomorrow. Obviously, I went to CVS and Andebres last night and take their pictures. They've got a nice filly as well that I've liked for a little while, a Sweet Lou filly, out of the same mother as Air Ambition. Air Blaze, she's called. It's not the most original name, but she does have a massive blaze. Obviously, she looks like a Sweet Lou. She's a nice, strong filly that I don't think would look out of place at Harrisburg, to be honest. And she is, that full American bred, so she's probably one to keep an eye on. I'm biased as well. My brother and my father have got a yearling colt in the sale by Arts Conquest out of Frisco Frisk. Norman, he's called. So whoever buys Norman must continue to call him Norman, because it's bad luck to change a horse's name. And there's, as you mentioned, there's a couple. I spoke to a friend of mine down in Wales who she's not really in the market for buying a horse, but she does like to go through a sales catalogue and pick out horses, and she will always set herself a budget and try and be realistic, and she's looking for sometimes different things to me. So she's picked out a couple that what she would call chancy horses, that if she was going to the sale, which she isn't, she would go and have a look at those, and if she liked them in the flesh, they're the kind of horses that she would bid on. So a couple of the ones that Mark Jones has got entered, for example, there's a Mercer's colt as well, I think, that she kind of liked the look of. So there is something for everybody, and there's probably going to be horses to suit everybody's budgets as well. I'm not in the market for buying another horse. I've done enough buying horses in the last fortnight, so I like to pick a couple of horses in the flesh that I like, and then try and keep an eye on them when they race the next year. If they're going to go into 2-year-old races, then I used to do it at Brightwells. Air Camelot was a horse I picked out last year. Amazon Echo. There was an Arbury Juice filly called Tigress that ended up with Buster Gilligan in Ireland. She didn't race as a 2-year-old, but she's one that I'll keep an eye on. So I'll probably be doing the same. I've got to microchip scan all the yearlings and all the horses that are going through the sale ring anyway. So I'm in quite a good position to actually get into the stables with all the horses, see them up close. And at that point then is when I start to pick out the ones that I like. I'll maybe mark them in my catalogue then as I've done the microchip scanning, put the hip numbers on. I can leave having kind of cast my eye over them a little bit. But I've no intention of buying any horses this year. Watch me now.
I've had a quick look at this, and for value horses, for going to my last year's sale, there are a horse in there. It might make well over the odds now. Is Showtime Raging Bull. It's a full brother to Showtime Notorious. I love that. That horse just tries all the time. For people's budget, that might be one of the horses that you can see racing. So it's Marisol Hanover one, Marisol Hanover filly, and price tag is a full sister to the Showtime I'm a Lady, who won the IHR juveniles at York. So that was sold last year for 600 quid.
Are you buying on Saturday, Craig?
I've got Jack with me. He'll be desperate for me to buy. I'll just hide from him.
No, because then he'll bid in your absence and you'll be left to pay for it. You need to be with him at all times. I've learnt this from spending time at sales with John, and he has also learnt the same from spending time at sales with me. Stay with Jack at all times. Do not hide from him. It's safer with him than not with him.
Listen,
you know Jack as well as me. If the burger van's open, he'll be there.
John's too busy buying pigeons.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know what's worse, pigeons or horses. I know which I prefer anyway.
Right, have you looked at the Corbiewood and Tir Price cards, Sarah?
I've looked at the Corbiewood one, quickly looked through it, and we're basically the same horses we're racing week in, week out now. The only thing that's any different really is that Corbiewood switches from preferred weeks to handicap trails weeks. This week is a preferred week, so you tend to look at the slightly higher grade horses in the race as opposed to the horses that are going to be drawn like on the gate as usual. So we've got a non-winners race. I do like a non-winners race. Sometimes it's difficult to actually pick out a winner from a non-winners race because they're all coming into the race having not won, obviously. The fact is that this is running lines as opposed to trails. It's not all horses on the gate either because of the spread of the grades. You're looking at horses like Lady Mary, who is a grade 9, with Oakwood Spur, who's a grade 1 on the gate, and she's only on line 5, so she's not having to trail the 80 yards that she would normally do on a handicap week. So Lady Mary, I think, is in with a massive chance in the first race in the non-winners. We've got a maiden and novice. We're down to 3 maidens now racing, and a couple of these looked all right last week. Utri All Art was second last week, and massively improved off the back of a run at York. And it seems to be the case that horses that leave Scotland to race at York come back to Corbiewood and do show improvement for it. You've also got Rogue Desire in the race, who raced at Tir Price in York before coming back to Corbiewood and winning. And Highbrook's Ideal, who could be an improving horse. It's been purchased out of Wales and come up to Scotland. It was third last week, but might just take a couple of weeks to get into racing on a tight track like Corbiewood. Then we've got Dreamfair Duke entered here as well. I know he's entered at York to race on the Saturday. He's also entered to race at Corbiewood on the Sunday. Not outside the realms of possibility that he will run both days because Rob Hall did something similar for the stable a couple of weeks back. Cashall's in really good form. Blue Titan's going to have raced in the first race and then comes back in for the third race. Whether that will work out as a good kind of warm-up run for her or what, I don't know. But Dreamfair Duke drawn 1 on the gate. Mick Grelis partners up again. Hugh Mingers has taken Cashall. So Mick Grelis, we're looking for kind of week-to-week double there with Dreamfair Duke, I'd imagine. The next race after that, then a couple of horses that are in with a chance. Holly Jasper's come into open class company this week off the back of a win in a novice last week when she was trailing 10 yards. Dale on Vacation, I don't think has finished outside the first 3 this season. But Joseph Riley takes the drive for the first time. Dale on Vacation hasn't raced for a couple of weeks, so it'll be interesting to see how those two kind of work out as a partnership. And then we've also got an Anto Russell Memorial Preferred high grade race at Corbiewood as well. So thank you to Dean Russell for his sponsorship, and also the famous Anto Russell rug that's going to Corbiewood this year. Really, really quality field of horses. Even with Rufus, Stash the Cash, DK's Happy Forever, Air Paparazzi, Lady Mary and Rob Hall. Whilst I did promise Joseph that he would get a 10-minute slot with me talking about how fantastic I think Air Paparazzi is, I am aware of how long we've been on so far tonight. We've still got Tir Prince to do, so I'll have to keep it really short and just say Air Paparazzi for me, in the death seat, officially drawn 4. But I think Air Paparazzi just needs a bit more racing luck. Last time I raced at Corbiewood, he had a hobble break, had to pull up. So fingers crossed we have no tack malfunctions this week with Air Paparazzi, and he can get the win, because I think it's Tir Prince for Air Paparazzi after this.
Okay. Billy, anything you fancy at Corbiewood?
Holly Jasper. I fancied Holly Jasper. Holly Jasper seemed to be getting a little bit better and a little bit better every week, and it was running on strong. So Holly Jasper was one that I fancied, and Paparazzi, yeah, fancy Paparazzi. I think even number 4 in the death seat. I think he's a very, very quick horse out the start. He Tir Prince, you know, he bombed out, went to the front of Tir Prince in a very, very big class field, and done good fractions to win Tir Prince. So I think from number 4 there, I think, you know, he's got a terrific amount of top end speed to get out. And even if he didn't hit the front, I think he could make, if there's a gap there, slot in, and then he can pull him out and run again. Good horse.
Craig, anything for you at Corbiewood?
I will go back to the start. I do fancy All Art this week. All Art raced last week and it got hassled the full race. Never got a minute's piece, so I'll give that one a chance. First race, I do side with Lady Mary. The third race, I'd love to see Mick win again with Dreamfair Duke, but I don't think he's got the pace to hold the ones and outside him out. He just held on Folkwood Spur. I do think if Mick gets a winner, he should get a new pair of gloves. What do you think, Sarah? Them gloves last week, the old working gloves. What did
they were working gloves. They were high vis, greeny, yellowy gloves, and I didn't. Somebody mentioned something about it, and I didn't really see them. And it wasn't until afterwards, and I saw a photo that I'd put on the official results. And Vinny, who normally runs the bar at Corbiewood, had commented about the gloves, and I thought, oh, Mick, what were you doing? Somebody needs to get. I should start a campaign to get Mick Grelis a decent pair of driving gloves.
Yes. Holly Jasper ran well last week. I fancy that. I was talking to Cam tonight. I don't think even with Ruthless is running, so that might make it a bit. That brings Air Paparazzi in a bit, but there's going to be some speed out that gate. It might pay to side with Rob Hall.
Okay. And Sarah, have you looked at the Tir Prince card?
I haven't, but I can, and I now am. I know I kind of read through it, and also I think Eric's done a preview as well on Facebook, so that generally leads me in the right direction. Although I am capable of still picking some absolute corkers and getting it completely wrong. Some of these horses I haven't actually seen. I've not seen Check on Dancer, for example, because I think Check on Dancer has raced at Tir Prince the last twice, and those have been meetings that I've not been in attendance for, and I haven't actually sat through and watched the videos. So there's horses here I haven't really been keeping much of an eye on. The first race, the maiden, maybe kind of Oakwood Bandit, looking at form, 2/3 on its last 2 starts. I can maybe look at Oakwood Bandit coming forward. Dave Taft trains DVDs, drives. Dave Taft's in the form of his life at the moment as a trainer. He's had a really good couple of weeks. So if I was going to pick, I'd probably go with Oakwood Bandit. The second race, the novice. This is possibly the best draw that Conor McGregor has had. I know he's a horse that's been absolutely played with bad draws at York in particular.
A tough trip last week.
So I'm gonna go with Conor McGregor, because I do think he's in with a huge chance there. And Colford Mission is a horse I think maybe could run into the places as well. I know he was only 4th last week at York, but he was 2nd the week before that. And I do think Colford Mission might enjoy a trip to Tir Prince as well. Be interesting to see how he goes since the change of stable. Star Makers Heat. I'm going to go with Air Eagle. I think this could be young Stephen Lees's biggest chance so far. I know he's only driven a couple of times now, but his biggest chance so far of his getting his first win with Reggie. And just heart and head, say Air Eagle. Stephen and Reggie, they make a good team. So I'll be cheering those on in that race. The trot.
Are you going to go for Ginge? The one we think is Ginge?
Well, I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to go with Ginge now, because if this is Ginge, I thought Ginge went okay behind the Alley's trotter in that qualifier. So I'm going to go with Espiondiol. Am I saying that right? Espiondiol?
You've got the job. You've got the job.
There we go. I mean, I've said it now, and I was the first one to say it, so everyone's got to say it how I say it.
It's got to be called that now. Yes, definitely.
I'm making it sound quite Banksy.
I won't be there on Sunday anyway. It's your favourite caller on Sunday at Tir Prince.
Mike Crawler?
Yes.
Yay! Mike's back, but I'm not there. Can we get Mike back on the 25th? Because I could be at Tir Prince on the 25th, and I haven't seen Mike all summer. And he's technically my second favourite commentator, because obviously you're my first.
Yeah.
I'm actually Charles Ingold, but awkward. No, because he's not a commentator. He's actually a track announcer.
Yeah.
The next one, the Star Makers Heat 2. Reed's Passion and Miraculous, I think, are making really good use of this series. They're getting a huge lift in terms of where they would normally be trailing these kind of races. So I'd probably say I'm going to go Reed's Passion, only because I always put the girls over the boys. But for me, it's between Reed's Passion and Miraculous in that race, with Lakeside Paddy and Plan B kind of getting involved as well, maybe in the places.
Didn't get a run last week. It was messy last week.
Again, I've not seen the replays, so I don't quite know. I'm kind of blindly going on placings in the last 5 kind of thing. It seems uncharacteristic really in that kind of race that her Reed's Passion's last result was a 5th, but if she doesn't have the same kind of issue she had last week with traffic or anything like that anything going wrong, for me, I do think it is between Passion and Miraculous, and I would have to go with Passion because I'm a big fan of hers in general. The next race after that, Spring Hill Miss Kate appears to be in terrific form at the moment. Last 2 starts Tir Prince, so it'd be almost impossible really to look past her. But there are horses in the race that probably are in good form as well, but maybe won't have been as eye-catching as her. Colford Mystery, Madge's Lad is so super consistent all season, does his time, does his work. So Madge's Lad, Colford Mystery, maybe to get into the places, but I do still strongly fancy Spring Hill Miss Kate for that. Okay.
Billy, have you looked at the Tir Prince card?
Yeah. Just what Sarah was saying before there, like Conor McGregor, I seen him win his maiden race at York and that, and I thought, says not be long for him to win a novice and be in the open class straight away, because he looked a real nice horse and that, and he's just been plagued with bad draws, and he just has a tough. And I fancy him, honestly, I do. It's got to be his turn. He's raced all season, and I think this could be his day where he's going to get out the novices. That's what I fancy. That's what I would fancy on the day.
I think that's a strong selection. I was talking to Eric earlier on. I think he fancies that Conor McGregor really strongly as well. And Craig, anything for Tir Prince for you?
I fancy Bandit strongly in the first. I think it's just a wee bit better than a lot of them in that race. Fancy that strongly. And I'm going against everybody. I picked it last week. It absolutely blew in as Ring Me Back. Ring Me Back blew them away last week, and it'll do it again tomorrow, and Sunday.
Okay.
Confident in that one.
Craig, just out of curiosity, what day of the week is it today?
But it ends in a Y. Thursday. Payday. Thursday.
What's an Arab Junior the other week when he won with Ring Me Back, or was it Reed Star Quality? It was our first broadcast to Australia, and he was stuck for words in the interview, because I said to him, I believe today you're big down under. He did not know what to say when I said that to him, and that's Watson. Right. Doc Sowerby. Our best wishes go to Doc Sowerby. Steward at York. He's having a rough time at the moment. He's in hospital. I have sent him a text tonight, and he's hoping to be back on his feet soon. So everyone at York, everyone harness racing, wish Doc a speedy recovery. Doc, who works on the gate with me, and he stewards during the afternoon. We've got the live streams coming up this weekend. Live streaming from York, first race 2:22. We've got live streaming at Tir Price on Sunday. First race at 2:30, live streaming from 2:20. And I think they're still doing the Zoom live stream at Corbiewood as well. But there's one thing, Craig, we need more people to watch the live stream.
Yes, the figures have went down lately. I think the figures will be low York this week, but the figures have went down quite drastically. Without these live streamings, people wouldn't get to see it. If the numbers keep on dropping, tracks can't afford to keep it going, eh?
Nope.
So then people will complain. I know we're at the end of the year, but the racing's still good racing. Great racing at Tir Price. The only thing I'm a bit concerned about, where people can't watch Tir Price and Corbiewood. I go to Corbiewood, so I would pay for Tir Price, but you can't watch it both of them. If there were different times and work together, it would be all right. York, in hindsight, maybe I should have made it early start in the sale after this week, but it would have been better for the down under for the bookmakers. But we need people in the live stream, just as you say. All our thoughts is with Doc in the hospital. Hopefully we see him back, because that's 2 years I've been working with Doc, and a nicer man you'll not meet, Darren. Obviously he's been on the gate with you this year. Absolutely gentleman. Anybody who doesn't know him.
Now, anyone who's into point-to-point racing starts at the end of October, and that's going to be behind closed doors. Now, you won't believe what I'm going to tell you now. Some of these point-to-points have been that impressed with what they've heard about York and Tir Price being live streamed, because harness racing is behind closed doors. The point-to-points are now taking a leaf out of British harness racing's book and having live streaming at point-to-points. And that is true. So how about that? That's one for British harness racing.
Yes. And that's, first of all, that's a real positive. And I think our thoroughbred counterparts sometimes look down their noses at us a little bit, but we've been in a situation where we were racing all summer, certainly with the point-to-point circuit being it's a winter sport. They've been able to sit back and watch us kind of work it out. We've had to iron out a few kinks along the way, but we're in a position now where we look like we've got the finished product. So it's certainly it's a real positive that they're looking at what we're doing and trying to take that on board. But whilst on the subject of thoroughbred racing in general, I would like to give a mention to trainer Sheila Lewis.
Ah, brilliant.
Brian Davis's daughter. Anybody who doesn't know Sheila, obviously grew up involved in harness racing, is now a thoroughbred trainer. And I think it was a 1,182 to 1 treble at Hereford.
Yeah.
I bet her second too.
Did you not bet all three of them, Greg?
No, she done me in the first race, 25 to 1 shot. But I bet her second two. Her second two was, I think, 61 and 61 or something like that. They absolutely guiding, eh?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Fantastic achievement. I think it's 8 horses she trains in total, having taken out a licence a couple of years ago, and obviously building up a stable. But to have 3 winners on a card, any race meeting in the country is absolutely phenomenal. And when you look at the odds put together as that treble is absolutely incredible. So well done, Sheila. If you do watch this, well done. Particularly also because you're a female trainer, and I think it's one for the girls.
Brilliant. Excellent. So we've got more racing to come at York over the next few weeks. I think we're going back to the 11 o'clock start, aren't we, Craig?
Yes, next Saturday the entries are open with the BHRC. Yes, we'll be back to 11 o'clock next weekend. And if the entries keep on going, we'll keep on racing the week after. We just need to assess it week in, week out with the numbers. But we've done well this year, thanks to all the owners, trainers and drivers. Everybody have worked hard to keep this season going, and we've not lost it. And we need to keep on kicking on. Hopefully the COVID gets away, then we can get a bigger season next year all over the country, because we did lose a lot of horses this year.
Yeah,
we need everybody back racing.
And just to tell you that at Tir Price on October 25th, we've got the Tir Price Star Maker final, and also the Trot of Gold final. And on November the 1st, it is the rearranged. Well, they're actually reopening the entries. Group 1, Billy Williams Crocker Gold on Sunday, November the 1st. Right, we're coming to the end of the broadcast, but we can't finish now. We need one more story from Billy. Come on, Billy, send us out with a smile.
Oh, it's got to be the most famous of stories ever. What my claim to fame would be when we entered the horse at Droylsden, Mayfield's Villa. I asked Watson Arab to go and pick it up for us, but we forgot to tell the man that was training it, Bobby Forrest. So we went and took the horse. It was my brother's horse. Bobby Forrest was training it. We entered it for Droylsden, took the horse down there. We left Scotch Corner at 5 o'clock. Racing started in Manchester at 7:30. So we pulled into the racetrack and we had the horse there. No shoes on the horse, no harness, no sulky. So as the first race was just going on as we pulled into the track, we lent a set of harness off the horse that was in the first race. Then Paul Mather's cart went out with the horse, won the heat. And then in the final, went in the final, turned in the tape. So as the tape starts, the horse reared up a height and I fell off the back. And the horse ran around. He done one lap and they caught him. Oh, Bob Lee says, wow, what a shame. He says, look at that lovely cart. He says there, he says, that horse is going to end up smashing that cart up. Shane Lee says, Dad, I forgot to tell you that's our cart. He says, I've lent it to Billy. Bob went, you what? Get that cart. Catch that horse. So in any case, we catch the horse, went back and the tape starts, and Bob Lee says, don't turn him in the tape starts, stand him still, and he'll run out the tape starts. As the tape starts went, we ran out, and we won at the Young J Lee. We won the final. I think I was about 20-1 because I had fell off, but he won it. Mayfield's Villa. And me and Watson went home, two young lads, coming up the motorway, were like two Cheshire cats. We didn't need to put the lights on the car, the beam off our teeth, seen me home, coming back up the motorway. We had to give the harness back, like, no shoes on the horse, no note. Bob Forrest come the next day to explain to my brother that the horse had been stolen. He went, oh no, he won the Eton final. He says, at Manchester last night. So that was our claim to fame.
Brilliant. Absolutely super.
There you go. It was a good old time.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Billy, listen, been fantastic having you with us tonight. Really enjoyed your company.
Thanks very much for having us on. No,
really did enjoy it. And we'll have you on again. You're coming cheap, aren't you?
Oh, definitely. FOC.
Enjoy the weekend's racing at York. Thank you very much, Craig. Thank you very much, Sarah. Go back to your small hen or your big cock.
I'm going back to my champagne and less innuendos because honestly, this is in the gutter most of the time.
We will be racing then weekend, York Tir Price and Corbiewood. Thanks for watching the Sulky Show today, folks. Bye-bye.